because Hewitt had never been convicted of a violent offence. The prisons were too full to send away anyone except the most dangerous offenders. Cooper put some actions in progress. An alert for the whereabouts of Hewitt's Bedford van, a request for his phone records to see who he'd been calling in the past few days. Bank records would show if Hewitt was spending money or drawing cash out somewhere, but he'd need authorization for those. Jackson and Udall had provided intelligence on egg collectors and known associates of Hewitt's. Cooper felt sure he'd have more sense than to go to an address already known to the police, though. It wouldn't even take that instinctive cunning Gareth Stark had referred to. A few minutes later, he saw Udall emerge from a meeting she'd been attending. "Serious crimes still have Kevin Hewitt as a suspect, but he's dropped very low on their list," she said. "They think since the principal suspects came under scrutiny, they've been using people like Hewitt for their own purposes." "Like stashing the proceeds?" Udall nodded. "On the surface, he might not seem like the obvious choice." "But that's a very good reason for choosing him, right?" "Exactly. He could have been set up as a fall guy, an expendable asset." "Someone is doing a bit of strategic thinking at the top, then. It doesn't sound like a bunch of unemployed steel workers making a bit of pocket money, Tracy." "No, I think that's why they're happy to leave Hewitt to us." "So, we're not off the inquiry?" "Far from it. Do you know, they've even asked if the Rural Crime Squad could mount a surveillance operation in the Upper Derwent." "What, using crops?" asked Cooper. "We have people trained in crops, of course, but have you seen the moors up there?" "Yes, a bit exposed for covert rural observation points. You'd need to be able to disguise yourself as a grouse to pass unnoticed. From next month, a grouse would be the most dangerous thing you could look like, Tracy. They have a pretty short lifespan once the shooting season starts." Udall sighed. "Country sports. I can't see the appeal. Give me dinner and a few glasses of wine in a nice restaurant any time." Cooper looked down at his desk, wondering if he'd just been given a signal. Was he supposed to respond to a cue? "Tracy, I've been thinking about Kevin Hewitt," he said. "Oh, yes?" "He's well known to us, of course. And the funny thing is, I remember him. I even interviewed him a couple of times myself. But I never thought Hewitt was a real villain. He struck me as too much of a family man. He loved his kids, no doubt about it. I can't see him taking the risk of being put away and not seeing them for a few years." "Things change," said Udall. "Children go through phases when they become unbearable. Sometimes I feel I wouldn't mind a spell in the Nick to get away from my two. It'd be a nice holiday." "I've watched my nieces grow up, but I suppose it's different when you're actually a parent." "There's no escape," said Udall, "and a lot of men can't take that responsibility." Cooper frowned thoughtfully. Hewitt must know he's likely to land a prison sentence this time. "Maybe he doesn't care anymore since his wife kicked him out. Some men get like that. They see themselves on the long slide downhill and they can't face it. Then they turn reckless, as if they're inviting disaster. It's a sort of death wish." "Rather prison than trying to live on your own." "Well, at least you have a place where you belong, a status in some kind of hierarchy, even if it's right at the bottom. It's an animal instinct, the desire to be part of a pack." "And Kevin seems to know all about animal instinct." Udall pulled her hat on and adjusted her belt. "It's true, though," she said. "We're not made to be solitary. Loneliness is the biggest killer there is." Surprised, Cooper looked up at her, but she was already leaving. By 5:30 it was turning into a grey, claggy day, so common in the high moorland of the Dark Peak. Cooper had crossed the viaduct over the drowned village of Ashopton, turned off the A57 towards the Fairholmes Visitors Centre. Most of the pull-ins along the eastern arm of Ladybower Reservoir were full of cars, despite the weather. On summer weekends, the road beyond Fairholmes was closed to traffic. A shuttle bus ran visitors up the valley instead, skirting the banks of the reservoirs as far as the turnaround at King's Tree. Occasionally, the police got calls from tourists who'd missed the last bus back and were too exhausted to face a 6-mile walk. Today, though, the road was open. Cooper steered cautiously.